Welcome back to Cairo. We're here for the first event of 2021. It's the CIB PSA Black Ball Squash Open. I'm here with Lee Drew. The sun is shining. The flies are certainly buzzing around your hair. Fantastic to be back here. Obviously, I was here in December. You were here previously. This event has been a real saviour for the PSA World Tour. CIB have done an amazing job with the PSA to keep these high-profile events going. To keep things going in the squash world as well, but a terrific venue and a great setup here, and really looking forward to this event.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and you can't underestimate just how difficult or big the task was with everything that's been going on. So I think when you do come and you've got the backing of CIB, you've got the PSA that are obviously putting huge efforts in to keep the staff and the players safe, and you do feel very safe in the bubble. And then when you have a self-contained club like Black Ball, it does lend itself to be able to operate like this. So it's been a real saving grace, I think, to be able to do it.
And the preparations, obviously this is the first event for the women, and then the men's will be happening the week after of 2021. There's been severe lockdowns all around the world once again. There's been different preparations. Looking at social media, it seems like things in Cairo haven't been so bad at all. Players have been able to go to their local squash clubs, play with each other, train kind of as per normal really, with possibly a face mask on, which can help your respiratory system and obviously increase your VO2 max possibly. But very different in the UK and certainly in parts of Europe as well, where it's been very, very heavy, where there's been very restricted clubs that are able to be used, and players have probably been only able to play, if they have, a couple of times a week. So you've got a real combination, a mishmash of preparation coming into this event.
Yeah, I mean, it could throw up all sorts of results here because, like I say, there's so many different dynamics to consider, and then there's also the individuals themselves, because you'll get some players that can train off the court and they can go back on the court and still play incredibly well, like they've never been off the court. You get others that just need to accumulate hours of playing and practicing to be able to perform at that level. So I think that's one thing to consider. And then, like you say, in certain parts of the world, players have been able to get on and train almost like normal with their elite setups. Places like England, and obviously it's been locked down and everywhere shut apart from the elite hubs. And it's been very limited what players can do. So it's going to throw up a lot of random results potentially, but equally that unknown makes this event really exciting.
Well, it's a 48 draw this time round. December was 32, so you've got an increase in the number of girls playing this event. Looking at some of those first rounds, some really interesting names, a good mix. There's one particular girl that really does stand out for me, which was Farida Mohammed. Now, this youngster played in the previous events here at Black Ball and did very, very well. Was very close to taking down the Terminator, Noronga in December, in a ferocious 5-gamer. I mean, she was really out-terminating the Terminator, which is saying something. I feel, just looking at her draw, she's got an interesting path through and could be a real danger. Are there any other players that really stand out for you that could take down some seriously big scalpings in the early stages of this event?
Yeah, I think there's a few to watch out for. I think, like say, Farida Mohammed is going to be a handful for whomever she comes up against, because it's always a challenge and it's very competitive. I'm going to be really interested to see players like Sabrina Sobey, see how she performs and how she gets on, because she's been showing a lot of potential and she's knocking on the door there. So I think there could be a really good performance there for her. I think you've got quite a few other players that are looking to push through and trying to establish themselves at their respective levels. Obviously, someone like Nayla Gillis has come right up, and she's now starting to push and take games off the very best players. So she'll be looking to have gone up another gear, another notch, I'd imagine, on the rung. So there's a whole host of them that are coming through, and any one of them can really sort of rise up and potentially take a scalp off that sort of middle run of players.
Yeah, I mean, with the retirements of the great Raneem Al-Walili and then Nourel Tayeb, who's having a baby with Ali Farag, it does open up a few things. But I've been very impressed with the strength and depth now. The top end of the women's game has been unbelievable, but the strength and depth, you touched on Sabrina Sobey, Naila Gillis, who had a fantastic event, was very, very close to El Hamami in a terrific battle back in December. Her sister Tina Gillis is into the top 20, looking very confident, dangerous on the glass court. Holly Norton and all these, you know, there's a good cluster of other players as well that are coming in that help to make this early rounds of this event very, very interesting. And that's what it's about. It's a whole tournament in its entirety. You want to kick off an event from day one and be very excited by what can happen and the unpredictable factor, and I think we definitely have that in this year's women's event.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's that trickle down effect. So we've obviously had the top performers, the contenders, that have been performing at a ridiculous level for some time now. Now that what that does is it inspires other players. You know, players are watching them play, they're watching them train. They're then having to raise their levels. They're having to take the game to new heights, and that's brilliant. And there's a whole group of players that are doing that. So that only makes for more competitive and better squash in the early rounds. Now, I think the other dynamic and the other side of it is the fact that those two players have now freed up 2 spots generally in the semi-finals, which then opens it up for the other contenders to look at it and go, I could win this tournament. There's a semi-final berth as well there for the taking. So there's 2 areas that fascinate me now. It's that sort of the back end of the event where you're into the real business end, where you're going sort of quarters, semis, final, and then that group of players coming through to see if they can, you know, if they're not taking the scalps, can they knock huge lumps out of those top seeds?
Yeah, I mean, I was again looking at the draw, and the potential finals that could take place with the players involved is very, very exciting. And notably, one would be amazing for me would be possibly Camille Serm taking on El Hamami, who's now named the Leopard, by the way, as she's a bit more of a predator. I can understand the gazelle factor because she lopes around and is very smooth, but goodness me, she isn't half a predator and knocking on the door of wanting to be world number 1. But imagine those 2 ladies playing in the final here of this event. I mean, you definitely get a 2-hour 5-gamer, but there's loads of different matchups, you know, with the players involved, with obviously Shabini, and you've got Gohar and Sarah Jane Perry winning last year, Joelle King in there, and the list goes on. What really stands out for you? Who do you think will actually convert the title?
I mean, I think I've probably got a question mark around Gohar right now, just because it was difficult for her last outing in December.
She had some injury issues there. She's getting married, by the way.
Nice, very good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not distracting her too much, but
well, love is a fickle thing.
Indeed. But then, so I'm interested to see how she's sort of backed up or been able to train in this sort of phase between the last event and now. So there's question marks there just to see that. I think Sarah Jane Perry is looking in good shape, in good order, so I'm expecting a very good performance from her. And you just cannot write off. I mean, it's amazing, we've been talking for close to 10 minutes now, we haven't mentioned Noelle Shabini. You can't write her off, you know, she's always in the mix, she's always absolutely lethal. And then Hania El Hamami, so like I said, there's so many players to choose from, and there's going to be some huge matches, I think, between them.
Well, I think the betting companies will certainly be sparky with everything that's going on, but we can't wait for tomorrow. It's going to kick off at 11 a.m. local time here in Cairo for this women's event, and it will be myself and Drew Boy with a couple of guest commentators coming in, but looking forward to what should be a terrific event. Join us again tomorrow.